Hello and welcome to Me and You and Nancy Drew, a podcast in which I, Colleen,
and I, Megan,
are reading through and reviewing all the different books and games and TV episodes eventually of the Nancy Drew-niverse.
This week, we have read The Sign of the Twisted Candles, which is number 9 in the original run of the books. This one was originally published in the 1930s, but this edition is the 1968 version, which is usually what you're going to get.
There once was a limerick recap.
Today, Colleen will be starting us off with our limerick.
It's not good.
I'm so excited.
An orphan, an old man, and Nancy had a little tea party so fancy. Then he died. There were fights over ownership rights, but now everything's going dandy.
I think that's great.
Dandy doesn't rhyme with Nancy. It's objective.
Oh, we're going to have a fun rhyme in mind.
Okay.
Don't
Go for it.
worry. Okay. There once was a 100-year-old man who decided he needed a new plan. He made all his family mad, then promptly died, which was sad. Everything worked out for Carol the great-grand. Niece.
Incredible. Good work.
It didn't really tell how Nancy was involved in any of this.
That's okay.
But yeah, I really liked then promptly died, which was sad.
I also like that. There was an emotion in mine, but it was just indicated through a smiley face, which did not make it into the poem.
30-second recap.
And now it is time for nobody's favorite 30-second recap, where even though I read the story this morning,
Great.
I will utterly fail at retelling anything important from it.
So you get to go first.
I get to go first. All right.
Ready, set, go.
There's an old man named Asa or Asa, question mark on how pronunciate it. I tried, Google didn't help. Anyway, he is 100 years old and he lives in this house, and there's a little orphan girl who works there, and she is great and she likes to take care of him, but nobody else likes him. He makes candles. He has a very large fortune. No one knows where it is. And then he rewrites his will using Carson Drew, and he dies, and then no one can find all of his treasures, but they find all of the treasures, and it turns out that little orphan girl is actually his great-grandniece.
Very good.
That was one of my better ones.
That was one of the best ones. Very, very good.
It's your turn now to tell your version of this story. 3, 2, 1, go.
So this old man is a relative of Bess and George, and so they're going to the hotel to hang out with their relatives, and then they see him, and he's being kept up in this tower, and then there's an orphan who's trying to bring him food because it's his 100th birthday, and he's really depressed, and he his wife died, and he lost all his kids. It's unclear if they're around or not, or if they hate him. There's a lot of family drama, and because Carson helps solve this, Bess and George then hate Nancy for a bit, but then everything is okay, and we find the treasures. Yay!
Yay!
That was okay.
Between the two of us, though, we got most of the important facts.
Yeah.
Like the fact that this man is related to Bess and George, and so they have a stake in this mystery as well.
I was oh, no, it's another one about an inventor and his will and his treasures and his lost family. We've kind of had this story at least twice by now.
Yes.
But because now it's connected to Bess and George, there's a little bit higher stakes involved for Nancy personally. And there's a lot of I meant to bring in how bad the foster parents of the orphan, who's a little orphan girl, but also she's 16, but they're horribly abusive to her. Physically, they have taken her out of school, so educational neglect, all this different stuff. They're also extremely bad at being bad because they're trying to eavesdrop and they're always getting caught. They're trying to steal. He takes a chest from the old man's tower room and takes dirt out of the ground, puts the chest into the hole, then hides the dirt elsewhere in the forest, does not fill the hole back in, and just put logs over it. So they're really bad at being bad.
Yes.
They're not doing a good job. They're horrible people, and they're very bad to Asa or Asa. I'm just going to go with Asa, I think.
Asa. It seems to be the more common pronunciation, but not the only pronunciation.
And they're also very bad to Carol, who is, turns out, the grandniece, but they think that she's just some random orphan.
Just to correct, it's great-grandniece, not just grandniece.
Thank you, because he's 100, so great-grandniece. Thank you. That's
it's
good.
also important for the upcoming family tree.
Oh, good. I was wondering, when they were talking about cousins and uncles, is Megan going to make a family tree?
Of course.
Of course.
Cliffhanger.
In this segment, we discuss our favorite cliffhanger from this novel. Colleen, would you like to go first?
Yeah, there weren't a lot for the first 12 or 13 chapters, but then at the end of chapter 13,
the cliffhangers start and they just don't stop.
They don't stop. And it's great. But I'm used to having just like one per chapter. There was one at the end of the first chapter where the old man thinks that Nancy is his dead wife because he's very addled and very old and about a day away from dying.
Literally.
And it's also very dark. And so he like yells, "Oh, it's my dear Jenny." And that was like something, but not amazing. But then in this one, Nancy's looking for treasures, as Fred from Scooby-Doo would say it. And they're like, "You didn't look at the chimneys." Old people always store stuff up chimneys. And Nancy's like, "You're right. Old people do always store stuff up chimneys." And I think that was true in another book already.
Yes.
And so she's looking in the chimney, and then she gets a bunch of crap from the chimney all over her. And then it says, Hannah grew and Hannah's there. Hannah grew and gasped. Then the next second she cried out, "Ugh, bats!" And so I thought they were all going to get bat rabies, but they didn't really discuss. They're like, it could bite you. But my understanding is if you're in a room where there was a bat, you should just go and get rabies shots because their teeth are so small.
Oh.
At least I'm told that if you wake up and you know there were bats, then you definitely need to.
Oh, that makes sense.
I don't know if it's when they're flying around you actively. Maybe she was like, "Oh, one didn't get near enough to me." But I do feel like we should check on that.
That is a good thing to check on. The bats didn't end up being much of a big problem at all.
They shooed them out the front door.
They shooed them out. It took a little bit, and they definitely tell the funny story to everyone in the rest of the
Guess what happened? There were bats. It was crazy. Hannah had her skirt over her head, I think, so that she wouldn't get bit.
The back of her skirt over her head.
Yes. Perfect fashion moment.
Yes.
What was your favorite cliffhanger?
Okay, so my favorite cliffhanger was chapter 18 going into 19. Nancy and Mr. Drew and a random police officer are at a secondary property that the evil couple who are supposed to be taking care of Asa and supposed to be taking care of Carol own and have been hiding stuff that they've been stealing. And so there's all these boxes. It says Nancy knelt on one knee, pulled off the lid, and then shrieked in terror. And why I chose this one, because I was like, okay, what's it gonna be? Because we've read a lot of these books. And what it is a giant snake.
A copper-colored
live snake inside this box. Not expecting it at all. Hence why I chose it as my favorite cliffhanger this week, because usually it ends up being something that's not actually scary when we have a shriek cliffhanger.
And you thought that Nancy ran somebody over, but they were just startled because there was a random car?
Yes, yeah. It's always something not really a big deal, but this feels kind of a big deal and actually terrifying.
Yes, because as soon as we get to the next chapter, there's a snake, and then it immediately is like, "Hey, you disturbed my secret hiding spot," and it tries to bite Nancy because why wouldn't you?
Yeah. And they don't just shoo this one away. They kill it.
It says they quickly killed the reptile, which is the wildest way to say that in my opinion.
But yeah, that's why I chose that cliffhanger.
That's a good one.
Ship of the Week.
In this segment, we ship two characters, or characters and equality, or anti-ships. We've done it all.
We have.
And as a reminder, shipping is when you, the reader, hope for a relationship between two characters.
Or we hope there isn't a relationship.
The relationship needs to end between two characters.
Exactly. I have a traditional ship this week.
Amazing.
So we've been saying little orphan girl, but she is fully 16 and Nancy is 18. So a little sus, but also it is the 60s and they're both teenagers. I think it's fine. I think I would, want to qualify that with Nancy's not in college. She's still in this between high school and college stage of life. Mm-hmm. And also I think it is just a crush at this point. But I really do. I think there's a lot of evidence that Nancy and Carol are super crushing on each other. Nancy is always trying to not only just take care of her, but looking out for hey, I know you don't feel safe. What if Hannah, who makes me feel safe, came over with us? And she's always hugging her. She goes, "Carol, you were superb." This is when there are people trying to interrupt the important will writing process, and Carol knocks over 3 buckets of water on the stairs. She's like, "Oh no, oopsies, let me mop this up." The slowest anyone's ever mopped in their life. And Nancy's like, "You did such a great job," and whispers in her ear. And then she's always looking out for her. "I know we've been having fun looking for treasures and trying to help this guy out that you really care for, but do you need to put food in the oven?" She goes, "Oh my God, yes, I've been having so much fun. I forgot." And then when the old man dies, she has to go somewhere else. But she goes, "But I would really like to remain here where I can see you often, Nancy.
Aww.
And Nancy's like, that makes total sense. And then Nancy goes shopping with her. Oh my gosh. And later she's getting like tortured for knowledge that she does not have by her stupid foster parents. And she goes, oh, please don't. I'll do anything for you, but don't harm Nancy. It's so, so cute. And is it perhaps the first person besides this old man that's ever been nice to her? Yes. But I also think that both of them care a lot for each other instantly.
Yes.
And so I hope we see more of her, because by the end, Bess's mom says she will adopt or foster her for like the last 2 years.
And then they end up deciding that the Fanes and the Marvins will share like
Custody of Carol
when she comes back from school.
Yeah.
And I guess just further supporting yours, later she ends up staying at the Drews' house.
Yeah.
And she talks about how once Asa passed, there was nothing happy in the house anymore. And now she realizes like how nice it is to be at a place where
you are loved and cared for.
Yes.
And then like Nancy's going to like do some more mystery stuff. She's like, do you want to come along? And Carol's like, I do not honestly want to do that. It feels unsafe and depressing. Can I stay here and make you a really nice dessert that you've never had before?
Yes.
And we'll talk more about that in Cooking Corner. But like, it's just really cute and really like maybe first crush. I don't know. It's really cute.
It is. It definitely is. Now on a more, I don't know, boring. Not boring.
No, it's cute. This is my second choice of shit.
On the more traditional front. I only say traditional in that I think this is the third time I have chosen Nancy and Ned as my
so
ship
cute
of the
here
week.
too.
They really are, and I don't remember that. Like,
right?
In my first, I was in elementary school when
so
I
we don't
these.
have time to learn about boys.
I did not
I want to know about the crimes.
Exactly. But this time I'm paying attention. And I love how Nancy will like explain this sprawling mystery and he just laughs in delight.
Yeah.
And he's just so pumped to be a part of it. And
he's like, I've been trying to get a hold of you. Where have you been? And then she explains, he's like, absolutely, this makes perfect sense.
Yes.
Let me jump right in.
I'm on my way.
He was at a camp. He was being a camp counselor for like the first half of the book. So like she at one point just mentioned him because the phone rang and she hoped it was him.
Yes.
Oh, it didn't even say her boyfriend. It said her favorite date.
Her favorite date. So he says, where do we look next? Ned asked. This is a lot more exciting than my job was as camp counselor.
Yeah.
And Nancy is like, hey, I need you to take this seriously. Don't tell anyone about what we found. He's like, oh, no, don't worry about it. But he's just like so joyful the whole time they're on these adventures.
Did you happen to notice his little improv moment?
Oh, yes. When he is mistaken as a plainclothes cop.
Because Nancy's snooping and he's just a nearby man.
Yeah, and they're like,
I love it.
She must have permission to be snooping from this police officer.
Yeah, obviously.
And so he keeps getting called officer. And so then he just keeps playing it up for the rest of the chapter. And
not even just to the criminal.
Yes.
Later, Nancy says something, and he's like, are you sure you should be addressing an officer like that? And, like, puts it in big quotes, but, like, is having so much fun. Oh. Yes, and little guy.
Yeah, he's so sweet. I love him.
And this is my favorite thing he did. Did you notice this?
Yes, I did. It was so sweet. Promise me, he said, cupping Nancy's chin in his hand, that you won't disappear again.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure she
She absolutely does.
She absolutely does.
Yeah, we'll talk about this in Wound Watch, but for sure she disappears. But he's just looking out for her. He's like, absolutely do your crime solving. Doing a little crimes on the way to crime solving. I support you. I'm jumping in, but just take care of yourself.
And she's like, will do.
And then doesn't.
And he still loves her anyway.
Yeah.
Cooking Corner.
In this segment, we look at the delicious foods, snacks, and beverages within this book.
There were a lot in this one. And part of that's because it takes place at an inn that also serves food and stuff like that. Even still, Hannah Gruen's there. And even when Carol goes back, she's making food for everybody. Mm-hmm. But like the first thing, page 5, they're coming in out of the storm and Nancy's like, I need some tea and cinnamon toast. And I was like, there we go. There's my classic Nancy.
Haven't looked at a menu, just like you have cinnamon toast, yes?
I've decided.
Everyone has cinnamon toast.
And everyone knows that that's the perfect thing to serve to people coming in out of a storm. So
exactly. And this is actually fairly early as well. In chapter 2, after they have kind of established themselves at the inn and met everybody, Nancy has gone up to the tower met Aza, then comes back down and sets this whole plan in motion because it's Aza's 100th birthday.
Did you say 11th birthday?
I was going to say 111th birthday.
That's some Lord of the Rings
It's
stuff.
a Lord of the Rings. I know. It keeps happening.
Incredible.
Or I keep trying to say 11st birthday.
That's what it was. I was like,
It's
11 is not right. Amazing.
Because it's Aza's 100th birthday, Carol wants to do something nice. Her adoptive foster parents, whatever they are, won't let her. So Nancy's like, well, I'm a paying guest. Customer's always right.
I love that.
And so she's like, I would like to order a spread of like your most delicious food. And also I'm going to be having it up in the tower.
Just so you know.
And also Carol's coming too. And so are these two girls.
You don't
We're all
want
in
to
the
lose my
tower.
business, do you?
Exactly. She asks for jellied consommé, which I don't know if I'm saying correctly, but we'll try. Sliced breast of chicken, hearts of lettuce with Roquefort dressing, which is blue cheese.
Oh,
nut bread, ice cream, chocolate layer cake, and fruit punch.
It's like a whole thing.
Yes. Now, of all of them, I did not know the Roquefort. Again, correct my French pronunciation.
I feel like they Americanized it as like Roquefort.
Yeah.
Like something like that.
Blue cheese. I looked that up. But I also looked up jellied consommé. And I was like, what is this? The recipe that I found was boil lean beef with carrots and celery and like some other flavors for 4 hours. Then put your gelatin in and you've finished. So that, of course, sent me on a journey of the history of Jell-O.
Yeah. Horrendous. I don't like meat Jell-O.
No. And so this was written in 1968. By the end of the 60s and 70s, it seems, is when the Jell-O fad was fading.
Okay.
Post-World Wars, it seems the World Wars is really what boosted Americans' love of Jell-O and flavored Jell-Os.
We didn't have to do that.
No.
No one asked us to.
To the point that in the 60s, they were selling savory Jell-O mixes.
God,
They were removed from the shelves in the 70s, though.
Thank
Don't
goodness.
worry. And yeah, it has just continued to fade into obscurity ever since.
This
However,
is a good Frindle reference. When you add an E to fad, you get fade. And I predict
Yes.
this fad will fade. And that's me seeing any meat jelly.
I would like to, though, read that. So this is the last paragraph of the article I read from SeriousEats.com.
Oh, good.
About the history of Jell-O, just because I really enjoyed
Thank you for
this.
your research, because I could not bear to look this up.
In its heyday, Jell-O salad was ubiquitous across the United States. Today it is, in the words of Perfection Salad author Laura Shapiro, a once-loved dish safely congealed in the decorative mold of history.
Sick burn on Jell-O!
Yes, so
amazing.
Apparently this was something very, very fancy, but I, for one, am glad that I do not have to try this.
Yeah, that is not for me. Also, I hope that was on the menu, because making it for 4 hours and then putting in gelatin, like cinnamon toast, I get ordering that off menu. It's still a little weird. I would never go to a restaurant and be like, cinnamon toast, due to that's one of the 3 things I can make at home. But I also love that Bess heard this spread and was like, absolutely, I am super on board for this. I don't know what Nancy's doing, but yes, please.
Yes, exactly.
She also, Bess looks wistfully at the maraschino cherry, which obstinately remained in the bottom of her glass. And it's like, yes, girl.
Been there so many times. And then we have a lot of the other classics. I think hot cocoa is served 3 separate times.
Yeah,
in
one
this
of them
book.
in like a jug?
Yes.
Or a pitcher? I've never made a pitcher of cocoa before. I have made a crock pot of cocoa, which then congealed at the bottom, which was not amazing. It was just like it got unstirred, or maybe I didn't stir it all the way. It was just deliciously
Or
clumpy.
just cook some more at the bottom.
Yeah, that was real nice. That was awesome. Question for you.
Yes.
So Nancy, when she's checking in on Carol, like, hey, did you have to do something for dinner? Do we need to pause this treasure hunt? She goes, oh, did Mrs. Gemma ask you to like put a roast in the oven? And she goes, oh, I was supposed to put a leg of lamb in the stove. It is such a strange choice of prepositions to me.
Well, I guess it's also just, I mean, like, you put things in the oven.
Mm-hmm. And in fact, Nancy did model this sentence phrasing one sentence prior.
In the oven?
In the oven. We can say
Yes.
in the oven. And
I
Carol
guess-
goes, oh, in the stove. Yeah, for sure.
And that's what, I mean, like, some people interchangeably use oven and stove. I guess when I think of stove, though, I think of the part that gets hot.
Yes. I think of the heating elements on the top.
Yes, or if you have a wood-burning stove, it's the part that
the wood is in.
The wood's in. So I don't know.
I was just curious about that.
And just as a side note, the way Nancy brings it up is like kind of the same way you do with your siblings when, you know, your mom's out doing her errands and, hey, weren't we supposed to do something for dinner? Oh my God, I didn't put the chicken out to thaw.
Amazing.
That definitely didn't happen multiple times in my teenage years. Reminded me of like just to like cover your own butt, did your foster mom ask you to do something for dinner because it is almost dinner time? And I know your foster mom, and she's kind
terrible.
of a B-word. And
Nancy's so sweet. So I love Hannah. Nancy's stressed out because Bess and George suddenly are not talking to her because of the whole family feud. Specifically, the issue is the new will drawn up a day before he died says that Carol, who's been so good to him, does he know when he writes the will that she's related to him?
Yes,
okay, so he knows, but also she has been like the only person that has been good to him just for the sake of being good to him and not for like trying to get money or whatever. And even his family members who knew he had money like were totally ignoring him until it looked like he might die. Wild that they waited until his 100th birthday because I feel like that most people don't get there even today. So
yeah.
Anyway, but he basically said like, yeah, she gets 8/9 of my property and everybody else can split the remaining 9th. And so Bess and George, because their parents are upset, are like, well, we're not going to talk to Nancy. And I think part of that is like they were told not to talk to her.
And I think everyone thought that Nancy and Carson kind of inserted themselves into the situation, which
Carson would never.
No, he was specifically requested. Asa had already, like, in his mind, rewritten his will.
He just needed
a lawyer there, and it just happened to be Carson Drew, and so it just further complicated, I think, their friendship for a hot second.
Exactly, and so Nancy's depressed, and her father's lost in thought, and Hannah Gruen just hovers over them, coaxing them to try her waffles, and I think that's very sweet. I love Hannah.
Please eat my waffles. They'll make you feel so much better.
And she's right.
They will.
You want to talk about butterfly pie?
Oh, yes. The butterfly pie.
Butterfly pie.
And because
she says, I'll tell you the name, but you'll never guess what it is. Ever hear of butterfly pie?
I did search butterfly pie, and Google wasn't 100% sure what I wanted and was like, here's a pie with a butterfly on it.
So this is not a well-known thing.
No.
It says that Carol had made a lemon chiffon pie and then stuck 2 large wafers, which she had fashioned into the shape of butterfly wings, and then decorated them in various patterns with vegetable colors, which I think is very, very cute.
That is very cute.
And she must have spent a lot of time on it, and she really wanted, like, Nancy to come home to this.
Yes.
It's really nice. And apparently it tastes even better than it looks, according to Carson Drew, who would never lie about a thing like this.
And it sounds like it looks pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Lemon chiffon pie.
Lemon chiffon pie slaps. Oh, also later they have potted ham.
Potted ham.
Not canned.
Yes. Oh, yes.
It's
yes,
potted.
I saw that.
They have canned chocolate milk, potted ham, and relatively fresh bread. That's the last meal of the book, and it's not good.
All of those things together. Canned chocolate milk, potted ham, and relatively fresh bread.
We had so many good meals in this book, but this is the one we're ending on? Okay.
Fashion police. In this segment, we look at the outfits and clothing on all the different characters, but this was not a very clothing-heavy novel.
No, they used all their time up on 17 meals of toast and tea and cocoa.
Yes.
And there was no time for outfits. I mean, they do go on a shopping spree, but I don't think they describe what they even get. But that's a really nice time because they make up with Bess and George in the elevator because they're all there. And Nancy's like, listen, I promise we weren't inserting ourselves. It's like Carol's like legitimately a nice, great person. And this is really what Asa Sidney wanted. He just wanted a lawyer and we were nearby. Like, it's not about that. And Bess and George are like, you know what? You're right. I don't know why we're letting this get between us. And then they all go shopping together for Carol because she's never had nice clothes. She basically only wore uniforms for her school, and then they took her out of school. So she's like, I got nothing.
Yeah. And speaking of uniforms, one of the only descriptions we do get of clothing otherwise in the book is that both Carol and her foster mother, Mrs. Jemmett, are both wearing black dresses with a frilled apron, which of course makes me think of like the
typical maid uniform.
The French maid uniform outfit. So that's also what I pictured her in the whole time, which I'm sure that the skirt is not as short.
The uniform she was talking about. I was thinking school uniform, but she was probably talking about maid uniform.
Yeah, because she has like a whole maid uniform. And so like, I don't know, there's something, I don't want to say degrading, but like because of just like our modern day like interpretation of the French maids
and how
like sexualization of it.
It's been way over sexualized and it's been made into a whole thing. It doesn't describe what they got for Carol, but she had been outfitted from head to toe in attractive clothes and she got a haircut.
Yes.
It was very cute.
And it boosts her confidence so much.
I like that. She looked very lovely and seemed to have gained self-confidence. I really like that.
Yeah, a good outfit or clothes that like really make you feel more like you.
It's very empowering.
It is. It makes you feel like you.
Yeah.
Picture perfect.
In this segment, we discuss the illustrations, the ink drawings always included in the Nancy Drew books. And the first one I want to talk about is actually the cover. All the other covers that we've had so far have kind of been like a vignette. The Lilac Inn was always one of my favorite covers, where you see like what looks like ghost Nancy, like reaching, and real Nancy's like, what is that? That's what I'm used to. This is the first one where I think we stray from that, and we have old man in the background looming out of the darkness with a giant twisted candle in the forefront, and then faded Nancy bust looking behind at the old man and looking a combination of terrified and disgusted, which I didn't remember this book. So I was like, Asa must be not all he seems, but it's like, this looks...
She's scared of him. You're right. She does look disgusted. I didn't catch that. In the picture, like you say, looming out of the background, all I see of him is head, extremely long beard. He looks mad, and like this sort of outline of his shoulders. There's enough room that we could have drawn his whole body, but it's just like fading into the darkness. And it like seems to suggest that he's not only mad and old, but also like unkempt and maybe dangerous. And he's just depressed, man. He's just sad.
And
they're like, congrats on living so long. He's like, all I did was not die. He's depressed. And Nancy's like, he seemed like he was not having a good time mentally or whatever. I don't know the actual quote, but they're like, he's depressy.
Yeah, he's not a bad guy. The cover to me was a little bit off-putting.
All I remembered from I was like, oh, Sign of the Twisted Candles. I remember reading this. I remembered the cover, and I remembered like maybe like looking for treasure in a big house. But that doesn't narrow it down, man.
That's every few books.
Yeah.
Okay, what's your picture perfect?
I had one. It's more of a complaint. It's more of a comment. When Nancy goes, here's a secret compartment, Nancy cried out. That's like the little like description of this picture. It's in the middle of chapter 17. And I just noticed in the background that George, while having a boyish haircut, is wearing like a full dress and like has her knee turned in coquettishly, and none of this is accurate to any description of her we've received at all. She's always wearing like shorts and pants and boyish clothes, and she has like bright lipstick on in this. I'm like, none of this is correct.
That's not George.
That's not George.
Who
That's
is
an imposter, is what that is. Bess is hanging out. It's fine. George is not here. This is a replacement.
Yes. Oh my, I hadn't noticed that. Yeah, that's not
the
George
way she's
at all.
standing. It's like, ooh.
And it's not.
I'm demure. No, you're not.
No, she's not. That's part of the
canon.
Yeah, like, oh.
I was disappointed.
Okay, and then I do have an actual picture that's not the cover to discuss. So this is near the end of chapter 8. Nancy and Mr. Hill, who is a banker that Carson Drew knows well and has involved in this whole mystery as being the witness to the signing of the will. And then if Carson's taking care of something, he sends Mr. Hill to watch the house. The Jemmets are sneaking out of the house with candlesticks and seemingly a piece of
candelabras.
Yeah, some candelabras and like just a piece of wood. Yeah, maybe.
He does have like a 2x4.
That's just a 2x4.
It's an important, valuable 2x4.
And so that part of the picture it's fine.
That's fine.
Nondescript. But my favorite part is in the background. In the background, Nancy and Mr. Hill are half concealed behind a tree.
I mean, half concealed. They're just next to a tree.
Okay, Mr. Hill's his hand and one leg are behind the tree.
No, it's not half concealed. The rest of them are all out.
Including Nancy seemingly has a flashlight pointed at them. The Jemmets notice nothing.
The flashlight is making like a doo-doo-doo-doo, I'm hypnotizing you spiral.
Yes, it has a big spiral. And then, if you look closely, both Nancy and Mr. Hill have just dots for eyes and also dots for mouths.
It's so creepy.
And you know, these pen drawings are usually like highly detailed. It looked especially hilarious in the scanned version on my digital copy.
We love a Xerox of a Xerox.
Yes. If you want to take a look at that, head over to our Patreon. That'll be on there for free.
Yeah.
And you can...
We need you to share in this. We can't describe it.
Yeah, there's only so well an audio format can paint this picture for you.
It's such a great picture. I didn't even notice that he's just stealing a 2x4. I guess it could be a box, but I think it's not. Also, these are ugly candelabra.
Yeah.
Oh, this is also when I realized that candelabras is not a thing. Candelabra is the plural, candelabrum is the singular.
Oh.
I realized that's because it was like, oh, she's stealing 2 silver candelabra. And I was like,
Wait a second.
And I was wrong.
Huh.
They're ugly, though. They are.
Blast from the past.
In this segment, we just discuss all of the blasts from the past that stood out to us. in good ways and bad.
There weren't a lot of bad ones in this one. They've been insensitive in the past, but I really think this was just a lot of, oh, wait, what? Is that a thing?
Mm-hmm.
My first one I noticed is that almost every time they talk about Mr. and Mrs. Jemmett, they're like, it's a couple named Jemmett. It's Mother Jemmett. It's Father Jemmett. Mrs. Jemmett doesn't have a name.
No, she doesn't.
Like, not only does she not get to keep her last name, she doesn't have a first name. I think Mr. Jemmett maybe
I
gets
don't
one at
even
some
know
point.
I don't know if he does.
That's
and
fair.
honestly, this isn't the first time we've seen that in the novels.
It's true.
The wife is just Mrs. whatever.
Mm-hmm. Or Mother Jemmett or the couple Jemmett. I'm like, okay, I get it. What do you have?
Okay, so I did have kind of the Jell-O, which I covered
okay
in
that that's in the past.
Yeah, thank goodness that's in the past. But I covered that in Cooking Corner. Asa says that he is a chandler.
Yes.
And immediately I was like, chandelier. Chandler.
I was just
or
thinking
Chandler.
Friends.
Yeah, but like the word, I don't know if it's pronounced Chandler or Chandler, but it is Chandler, and that is a candle maker. And so I, of course, looked into it, and that is exactly where the word chandelier comes from, which was a group of candles.
Yeah.
Now they are electric. Most households had a chandler, someone who made the candles. When I say most households, I'm talking like
rich household.
Very, very far into the past. Yeah, pre-electricity and wealthy families usually had a chandler.
We also have a chandler, and it's my father-in-law because he keeps bees. So
yes.
And that's where our wedding favors came from.
Yes, he is a chandler.
This guy, again, we have another inventor who's very rich off his patents, and he has all his framed patents. I really like how important inventors are in the Nancy Drew books.
Yes, this is where everyone's getting their fortunes.
Yeah, he invented twisted candles, and it appeared to be like as the wax runs out, it collects so you can burn it again later. Is kind of what I got.
So you're not wasting the wax and the tallow.
I had, when the old guy is startled, he was half asleep, and then Nancy busts into the tower room to give him food, but also, like, definitely she's not really supposed to be there, and he thinks that she's his dead wife because they both have red hair, and he's half asleep and old. And he goes, well, if I can't tell a very pretty and very much alive young woman from an old piece of canvas and paint, then I shall have to visit an oculist. And I really like oculist. I think they should call him eye doctor's oculist
I would like to go to the oculist.
I think it would be nice.
One of the other things that ends up happening is this is when we're back at Nancy's house and Carol's there. Nancy sees through one of the windows, this is actually one of the cliffhangers, sees a scary face in the window. It's Mr. Jemmett.
He's always getting caught eavesdropping.
I know, he's everywhere and he is never
She whacks the wife in the face. She's like, I'm going out this door. It's quicker. And then, because she knows that the wife is eavesdropping, and so she whacks her in the face with the door.
They're dropping eaves all over the place.
They are.
So after seeing him in the window, Carson orders them to close all the doors, close up all the windows, and turn on the air conditioning system.
Ooh, exotic.
And I was like, wait, what? And yeah, air conditioning was invented in 1902. I'm
sorry?
Yep, at a bookstore / magazine storage warehouse thing.
To keep the books.
Yeah, the books and the magazines kept the pages would like curl up. And so they asked someone to figure out a way to get rid of the humidity in the room. Okay. And by getting rid of the humidity, he realized that it cooled. And if he did the opposite, it heated.
Okay.
And
I didn't know this.
Yeah, and once he realized what he had done, he left this company and formed his own, and the rest is history, as they say.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, I thought that was cool. By the 1960s, it said most new houses that were being built had central AC included. That's cool. Yeah.
Speaking of inventions, I really like Asa's toast. He's trying to give his backstory, and then he's like, actually, this is really depressing. Is there any fruit punch left? Let us drink to the new world of electronics, spaceships, and trips to the moon, but always soft candlelight.
Yes.
It was very good.
It was so good. I loved that part.
And I really want to look at the original book, because this is 68, so that is the moon landing. That couldn't have been in the original, right?
No, I don't think it could, because it would have been in the 1930s.
Right.
So and this is 1968.
They probably did not say spaceships or trips to the moon.
Yeah.
I just thought it was very nice.
Yeah.
I've just got a phrase. Boy, she was about as friendly as an ice cube. Ned about Bess when they're having a little tiff.
Oh, I was so upset at Bess.
Me too. I understand that if it's your family and they're telling you a story and they've never really lied to you before, I get it. But come on, Bess, you know better.
Yeah. This was my last thing, and it was just a small turn of phrase that I enjoyed from the book, and that's when Carol is like, I'm going to make you butterfly pie. Ever heard of it? It says, no, Nancy laughed. Sounds alive. I look forward to it.
I thought it was, she thought there would be butterflies alive in it, like 4 and 20 blackbirds baked in a pie.
Oh, I thought she meant more like sounds groovy, but sounds alive.
Oh, interesting.
I wonder which way it is.
I don't know. I thought she was like, I mean, you can serve me bugs. I don't really care.
Maybe you are correct. I guess I just read it as, just like a phrase I'd never heard. Like,
that's awesome. I think what happened here, they heard a scream and it distracted them from spending time with Asa when they're having their tea party. And I think it's like Mrs. Jemmett just trying to distract them. They rush downstairs because they hear a woman screaming and they're like, okay, let's go deal with that. What's going on? Is someone in danger? Nancy goes, what happened? And Mr. Jemmett goes, search me. Some crazy woman just trying out her lungs, I guess. It's not really blast for the past, except for just like, yeah, we could just call women crazy all day long. But I just thought it was really funny. My other little one was Ned and Nancy are just taking some time out. They go to a country club. And they're there for dinner, and they've only planned to go to dinner. And then Ned's like, how about a swim at the country club? We can rent some gear. I'm like, are you renting bathing suits too? Okay.
I wondered that too.
Because if I'm going to dinner, I'm not bringing a bathing suit. But Nancy might. She might have one in her car. I wouldn't put that past her.
I wouldn't either. But I do kind of get the impression that they really did
just rent bathing suits.
Which
is fine.
I am not interested.
I'm not interested
at all. I don't want to... No, I don't want to share a bathing suit. No, that's. I'll share a lot of things. Yeah, that's not it.
Yeah.
Wound Watch.
In this segment, we look at the wounds sustained by our dear darling Nancy.
Nancy gets whacked by a hairbrush because she steps in because Mr. and Mrs. Jemmett are just fully abusing their daughter in plain sight and are hitting her with a hairbrush because I think she says, like, if you're going to act like a 2-year-old, you're going to get hit like one, which is nothing. I guess it says more about their parenting. And so Nancy's like, absolutely not. She's like, how dare you interfere with a mother correcting a wayward child? You're only a youngster yourself. And Nancy replies evenly, you certainly are proving yourself unfit to take a mother's place. So then Mrs. Jemmett hits her with the hairbrush. And it's like, first of all, what? And then Nancy's like, I literally can sue you for this. Like, you can't just attack strangers. She goes, who do you think you are? And she goes, it literally does not matter. You can't hit people. That is illegal. You have committed assault.
Even though Nancy does not immediately reveal who she is, it does end up, the card gets pulled.
And my dad's a lawyer.
Yeah. Do you know who my father is?
She doesn't start with that.
She does not start with that. But then she does immediately backtrack when she realizes that this is Nancy Drew, who has been in the news quite a bit.
Oh, yeah. She's like, not only has your father been in the news, but I've seen your name in the news.
And she's like, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have hit you with a brush.
And she goes, you shouldn't have hit anybody with a brush. Oh, Nancy.
And then we do have to add a knockout to our running tally. Nancy is chloroformed by Mr. Is it?
No, it's not. It's his goon.
Oh, his goon.
Womp womp.
Yeah.
He had done a favor for this guy, random guy. I don't know if we get his name. It's like Krill or something.
Yeah, I think Krill is correct.
Incredible. And so he had done a favor for Mr. Jemmett. And so, to pay Krill back, Jemmett goes, here, do this other job for me, which is not how that works. But he's going to go intimidate Nancy away. Nancy is there with Ned, and they're at the house, and nobody else is there anymore because they've all moved out because the guy died, and nobody has rights to it. And so they the police are tallying up all the stuff that's in the house, but they're not there at that second. So this guy's there. He's on a ladder. He falls down. He looks hurt, and the phone lines have been cut at the house. So Nancy's like, Ned, go get a hospital guy.
Ambulance?
Yeah, that's what I know about ambulances. He's like, well, will you be okay, Nancy? She's like, absolutely. He's clearly knocked out. This is fine. And then
he was faking it the whole time. And we find out later that he was tasked with stealing the papers that no one was able to find until the very end. And kidnapping Nancy.
So he was supposed to kidnap her, too. We were supposed to add another kidnap tally. We just added a knockout tally, putting us at 5 knockouts in 9 books.
Yes.
And 3 kidnappings. And Ned thought she was kidnapped because
Krill, or whatever, realizes that he cannot search and kidnap at the same time. So
a lot going on.
Too many steps.
Yeah.
So he hides Nancy's body, her unconscious body, under a bed
that has a long frilly thing to hide her. A little bit of room.
And she gets chloroformed outside.
She does.
She?
Oh, yeah. So he takes her inside.
Yeah, he takes her inside. That must be when he's like, shoot, I cannot kidnap this woman and do my other job that I've been
so much to do.
I've got too much to do. So he hides her under a bed.
And Nancy tries to avoid getting chloroform because she's been here before. She tries to hold her breath, but she doesn't hold it for long enough because he perseveres. And we think that she should have held her breath and then gone limp as if it had worked.
Yes, and then
not
continue acting. Mm-hmm. So maybe Nancy will learn. We're seeing her adapt. Mm-hmm. It wasn't enough.
But she's trying.
Yeah, so maybe next time she can avoid getting chloroform. We'll see.
Ned jumped into action, was like, I assumed you were kidnapped, so I did this, this, and this. I'm like, there we go. He's also learning.
I did the same things I did last time you were kidnapped, but it turns out this time you weren't kidnapped, so that didn't work.
So, yeah. This Krill, I looked it up. He is Mr. Krill.
Mr. Krill.
And he then stays with Mrs. Dilberry. And I'm like, where are we getting these names, guys? These are terrible. I love them. But with all of his tasks, he sounds like the king from The Princess Bride of like, my wife Tomoda. Possibly swamped.
Crash course. In this segment, we continue to tally all of the different vehicular accidents
and problems
surrounding our Nancy Drew.
There's so many. I may have told you this before, but my father had taped a very old Nancy Drew movie for me, and she is the worst driver, running into stuff constantly. I'm like, she's not like that. She's impulsive, but she solves her mysteries. She's like that. It's in the books. We added 2.5 more issues in this one. The half doesn't count because basically she is in her car. She's driving to really quickly get Mr. Hill from the bank to sign off on this will because Carson has to stay there and they don't want anybody to interrupt because they know the family members will hate that there is a new will because they will suspect that they're not in it, right? And they're right. And so she goes really fast to get Mr. Hill, but then she knows Mr. Gemmett's like following, and then she takes a turn really fast and he doesn't, and then his car gets stuck in a ditch. So she does force him to have a car accident, but that doesn't count because it's not the car Nancy's in. I just need to let you know.
Got it.
That she did cause an accident kind of intentionally. She was trying to just get him off her tail, but
she is pretty satisfied.
She's satisfied, and then later he's like all like his car's all crumply, and he's like shaking his fist at her, and she's like,
I wonder what happened to your car.
Sad. The very first thing is they have to walk to the last little bit to the inn because they get stuck behind a downed tree. Day ending in Y for these guys. Oh my gosh. It's like the first picture.
Yep.
And also, I did mark this picture for Picture Perfect. I'll just talk about it now. In the text of the novel, the tree comes down across the road, and so they can't go any further. So they have to walk the last little bit in this driving rain to get to the inn, and it's fine. The inn is the titular sign of the Twisted Candles. In the picture, the tree is fully coming down actively onto the car.
Which is not true.
It's not true. I think
that's not what happened.
No, so we've got one thing where they can't drive.
Yes, the illustrator must be mixing up the books.
That's exactly what it is.
Just copy paste. That's not how it worked back then.
Bess and George are upset. Okay, got it. So there's one thing where they're stuck on the road because the tree came down, and then later her tires get slashed. Two of them, and she only has one spare. So that's another thing she needs to adapt and overcome. So we are now up to, in 9 books, 15 incidents with Nancy's car specifically, and 4 incidents with other vehicles that Nancy was in charge of, not counting the horses. So many problems.
No.
I'm glad we're keeping a tally because there's so many problems.
Yeah, I need the data because it's one thing to just feel in your heart of hearts, hey, hasn't this happened before? It's another to have the numbers in front of you.
In my little chart.
Poor Nancy and her vehicles.
I don't know why anyone gets in a car with her at this point.
Does she have insurance?
I hope so.
What are her insurance rates?
Her insurance rates is called, my dad's a lawyer.
Yeah.
I'll sue this tree right now.
Sick burn. In this sometimes segment that we just invented just now.
Whilst recording.
Is it whilst or whilst?
It's both.
Both.
I think. I've decided it's both.
It's both. You heard it here. We are keeping track of any sick burns we hear we read in our Nancy Drew adventures. So you have a sick burn for us.
I do. So 2 of the relatives that are like jostling to get into the house. This is right before Carol spills 3 buckets of mop water down the stairs so they can't get up to the tower room. They both pull up at the same time. They're trying to get in the house. Nancy's accidentally standing in the way and is trying to prevent them from getting to interrupt Carson and Asa writing up and finalizing the new will, right? So we have Jacob, Sydney, and Peter Boonton. They're arguing. Nancy's like, I'm not at liberty to discuss with whom Asa is conferring. She says, won't you 2 gentlemen have some tea? Jacob sneers, 2 gentlemen? I can account for only 1 here. And the other guy, Peter, goes, well, thank you for the compliment, Sydney. I'm glad you admit you're no gentleman. I was like, oh, got him.
That was a good one.
I thought it was great. Did you have an insult from the beginning?
Yeah, in the very first few pages, the tree incident blocks them from making their way to the side
or
of the
comes down on the car.
Well, who knows? Who knows? We've got two different perspectives. Bess says, I'm sure I look a fright. She ran her fingers through her tousled blonde hair. George remarks, who wouldn't? When we've just barely escaped being blown into space, which I took to mean, yeah, you look pretty rough, Bess. But you have reason to.
Exactly. And it also remarks that, like, George has short hair, so hers
is fine.
I'm assuming this means George does not have terrible hair, but she's like, yeah, it does make sense that you look like crap right now.
Yeah, and I feel like George often has those backhanded compliments, like underhanded phrasing, specifically targeted at Bess. And
yes,
I know
they're sniping cousins, and it charms me immensely.
Yes,
especially when Bess snaps back, because she doesn't always.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us for this trial segment.
Drew's Clues.
In this segment, we take a look at what makes Nancy tick, or new things that we've learned about her as a character, since, she's the main character in all of the books. And usually the crime and the mystery takes the front seat.
Mm-hmm.
So we like to make sure we're paying attention to Nancy. What do you have?
It says here on page 2 that Bess and George haven't been to this inn, even though it belongs to their relatives. And so they had actually asked Nancy to come with them because they had heard some rumors about how Asa's being treated, and they weren't sure if it was true. And it says if there was a mystery, it would be a challenge to Nancy, affectionately called by her friends, our detective.
Our detective.
I thought that was sweet.
That is sweet. What I wrote was actually in reference to, during Wound Watch.
Oh, yes.
The hairbrush.
Mm-hmm.
Mrs. Jemmett is like irate. Her behavior is like escalating.
Starts at 11.
Yes.
Bad.
And Nancy, it talks about like how cool her demeanor is, her piercing blue eyes. Like she can't
her
be
even tone.
Her even tone. She can't be intimidated.
I love that. That's a great thing about her.
I'm just very impressed as someone who is honestly very easily intimidated.
Because we've seen her be cool under pressure for like, oh, a car's rolling down the hill toward me or whatever. But that's a different kind of thing from social pressure of like, hey, I'm actively witnessing abuse and I need to stop it.
Yes. I feel like it says a lot about her.
Yeah.
And her demeanor, her motivations. She's great. I love her.
That's a good one. Short but sweet segment.
Yeah. Short but sweet.
Sleuthing skills.
In this segment, we continue to add to your growing list of skills that you need, you, the listener, need to solve your next mystery.
So, very importantly, if you're not sure yet whether you can trust the little orphan girl who is almost your own age near you, and you do know you have to introduce everybody with their first and last name for some reason, that is vital that you do that. But if you're not sure you can trust her yet, you must, on purpose, slur the last name so the girl cannot repeat them. You got to know when to slur and when not to slur. And that's one of the times, is if you're not sure whether to trust them, but you have to say the last names for some reason. This happens twice. How many Nancys are in this town that, like, that's going to be fine?
Right?
That's going to cover for it. How many women named George?
Right?
Whatever.
It's fine. Another skill that you need, this is connected to something we've already talked about. But it's fine. When someone assumes that the nondescript male with you is a police officer, use that to your advantage. And continue to just go along with it. And yes, I am, of course, allowed to be snooping because this is a cop with me.
Yeah.
Probably.
I'm certainly not going to correct you. The customer and criminal is always right.
It's always right.
I've always said that. You also need to know when people are eavesdropping on you, even if this time they are not immediately in view, and you have to be able to loudly change the subject as if you are continuing the conversation. So Carol is warmed by the new friendship with Nancy, is leaning toward her, telling her stuff about how Father Jemmett is sneaking around with packages and he has a lot of money that she shouldn't have. But in the middle of the sentence, Nancy goes, "That's very interesting. Once we had some baby robins in a vine outside a bedroom window too. Do you have many wrens?" And Carol's like, "What the heck?" And then someone walks in, and it's foster dad. So it was the perfect timing for it. But Carol's like, "What are you talking about?" But luckily says it's in her head.
Yes. And I think relatedly, you need to always be on the lookout for eavesdroppers and assuming,
even in your own home,
that there could be somebody listening. So pay attention. Make sure you're always looking out those windows, behind the doors.
Keeping your air conditioner on so that they can't eavesdrop.
Yes.
Oh, but sometimes you have to know when it is good to have eavesdroppers. For example, they are given the clue from Krill, who is now in jail, that the Jemmets are hiding out near a road called something like Student, and that's nothing. And so they are talking loudly about it at a restaurant, and a woman leans over and is like, I couldn't help but hear. And do you think maybe you're looking for Steuben Road? So it's important to know when to talk loudly about your clues near helpful eavesdroppers.
Yes.
And that's hard to learn. You just got to know. That's more of an intrinsic quality.
It is. So good luck continuing to develop your sleuthing skills so that you too can be in the newspaper like Nancy Drew.
Accidentally gay.
In this segment, we talk about the things in the books that, while perhaps not intended to be gay or queer, are absolutely able to be interpreted as such by the modern reader. Most of mine, we've talked about a little bit with my ship of the week with Nancy and Carol, but immediately we're 20 pages in. Nancy and Carol already have this fast bosom friendship, as is her wont. Oh, we haven't heard from Helen.
I know.
What the heck is Helen?
Where
she
is
with her weird husband?
Jim Archer.
Oh my
Must
God.
be.
They better be in the next book. I am suspicious and concerned. Anyway, she is like, okay, I gotta go deal with X, Y, and Z. And before she leaves, she gives Carol a quick kiss and is like, remember, my dad's a lawyer, so like, keep us in the loop here. But like, I don't kiss any of my friends goodbye, and maybe that's on me. Maybe I should start that. But I do think that they're going to think it's weird. I think that's going to seem strange.
Yes.
What did you get?
There are often, when we talk about like gay and queer, like the actual use of the literal word. And so I just enjoyed in chapter 1 the queer-shaped shadows.
The shadows are going, yes, queen.
Yes, I was like, yeah.
Feathers and beads, and the shadows were in drag.
Yes, I love the queer shadows.
I think that's nice for them.
Yes.
Queer shadows is actually when there's like a prism in the window and then the shadows come through in rainbows.
Yes, that was it. And that's exactly what they wanted me to picture.
Exactly. This is more of just a queer vibe that George always gives me. This is the second to last sentence of like, okay, we're figuring everything out. Carol's going to share time between Bess and George's house. I don't know if we'll hear from her again because I kind of don't remember her, but I hope we do. But anyway, they're like, we figured everything out. Everything's good with the money. Everything's good with Carol. And George is like, anyway, also Carol should learn judo. I think it's great. I'm like, that is such a butch lesbian. Like, this is the George I know, not the George in the dress and lipstick from that picture. I think the illustrator from this book was just kind of phoning it in.
Yeah. He had a rough week.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Just kind of did the bare minimum this time.
Exactly. But George is like, yeah, and that way, if those horrible Jemmets ever break jail, she'll know how to handle them. Judo,
yes.
That's where it's at.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the solution.
Miscellaneous mysteries.
In this segment, we just have any extra mysteries, any things that didn't get solved, questions we still have.
I know you've got a big one. Do you want me to get my small ones out of the
Yes.
way? Okay. My first mystery is, why is this a nice thing to say? Because it's implied that this is a nice thing that Carol says about Asa. She goes, I love old Mr. Sidney. He's so friendless and pathetic.
Oh, no.
It is implied that is a kind thing in her heart. My next wondering is, I mentioned earlier that Nancy kind of forces Mr. Jemmett into a ditch, and he goes, rah, 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 rah. I had said that he was shaking his fist at her. That's not accurate, actually. He is shaking both fists over his head while actively driving, which doesn't seem the safest. I just don't think it's safe. My third of 4 leftover mysteries is, why doesn't Carol know how hot and cold works? She found something and she's making Nancy guess for it because that's helpful in this time-sensitive mystery. I looked under a false drawer, and what do you think I found? Nancy goes, clothes? No. Jewelry? You're getting warm, Nancy. It was a diamond bracelet. That's not getting warm. She got it right. That's, I would say, blazing hot, or you solved my mystery.
That's it. You got it.
You're getting warmer. And finally, why did the author feel the need to do a little science education here? We are in the middle of trying to make sure that Nancy and Hannah don't get rabies from the bats, and it goes, Nancy followed, and in a minute, the flying mammals came too. So it's just a little like, remember, bats aren't birds.
They're mammals.
They're mammals, and they fly.
Flying mammals.
You're welcome.
Amazing. Okay, my mystery is early in the novel, Asa sits down with Mr. Drew and goes over the family tree. But why not for us? Why do I have to reconstruct the family tree based on implications and little dropped pieces of information?
Because you like it. That's why.
No, okay, but like this was like a confusing thing. You know, because You've got two sides of the family.
I noticed some question marks in this diagram.
Well, this is because they didn't tell me what anyone's name was or how many kids everyone had.
So this family tree, unlike the one in the first book, does not make a circle.
Yeah,
Oh, wait.
Excuse me.
Oh, wait!
The important part of this is the fact that it becomes a circle at the end.
I was actually wondering this low-key during the book, and I was like, I'm not going to worry about it. Megan will solve it for me.
I will solve this. Okay, so
please.
Asa Sidney
Mm-hmm.
is married to Jenny Boonton. Boonton?
I've been saying Boonton, but I don't know why.
I don't know. So all of this conflict is between the Sidney side of the family
Mm-hmm.
and the Boonton part of the family.
Mm-hmm.
In the end, they all get shafted together, and so then they all end up on the same side because they all get like 1/64th?
1/63rd. It's 7 times 9.
1/63rd
A
of the
normal
fortune.
thing to put in your will.
Yes. And so they all end up together, which is why everyone ends up like feeling good at the end. So actually, Bess and George are Asa Sidney's great-grand nieces because
And so is Carol?
Carol is as well from.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
and we'll get there.
Okay.
But Asa's unnamed sibling's son is Jacob Sidney.
Okay.
And he had a daughter, Helen Sidney, that we find out about in the last 3 pages.
And you're like, thank God I can fill in one of these question marks.
Yeah, well, because we didn't have this part yet. So part of the other family strife is that Asa, while he was earning all of this money, was not a very attentive father and husband,
Mm-hmm.
and his daughter died. He had some sons and a daughter. Daughter died, wife left with the sons, assumedly.
And the sons never had kids, he said.
Yeah, and so his kids never had kids. So the Boonton side of the family is where Bess and George come in.
And that's from his wife.
His wife's unnamed sibling has at least 2 kids. Peter, who is a character, Peter Boonton,
Yes.
is in this book. Then another unnamed sibling. That unnamed sibling is the parent of Louise Fane, which is George's mother,
Mm-hmm.
Anna Marvin, which is Bess's mother.
Mm-hmm.
And then, again, in the last 3 pages, we learn that Anna and Louise had a brother named John Boonton.
Mm-hmm.
John Boonton, from the Boonton side of the family, married Helen Sidney, Jacob Sidney's daughter, from the other side of the family. They are unrelated, but on the
Because
same
they're
family.
all, because one's Asa's
Yep.
siblings descendant and one is Asa's
Yes.
wife's siblings descendant. So they are not related. This is just like the first one.
I know.
Oh my
I know.
God.
So Helen Sidney
Okay.
is Asa's grandniece,
Okay.
and John Boonton is his grandnephew.
Okay.
They got together,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess no one knew this. They eloped and had a daughter,
And then had a car wreck.
and then a
Different
car
persons.
wreck, and they died, leaving behind a little orphan girl that they had named Carol. Carol goes to the orphanage and is renamed Sidney.
As you do at the orphanage, I guess.
Yes, and then she is adopted by the Jemmets, and he says,
But Asa
already
was like a board
knows.
member at the orphanage, and he had taken a fancy
Oh, yes,
to this
that's
little
right. He didn't
kid.
know yet.
And he had been like, oh, but since I like this little girl so much, let's just call her Carol. So she's changed names 3 times, and not everyone knows.
Yes, so she was born Carol,
Mhm.
had her name changed to Sidney.
Mhm.
In the orphanage, Asa was like, I, for some reason, love this little girl. And when the Jemmets adopt her, or foster her, they don't really adopt her,
They don't.
he insists that they live at the inn and take care of the inn so that he can still see this orphan girl.
that he took
and
a
he
shine
says-
to.
And he says he wants her to be named Carol
'Cause
after his deceased daughter.
Okay.
And then,
Is that why Helen and John named her that?
yes, after the
They're-
deceased daughter. And so her name is legally Carol Boonton, and she is related to everyone in the book except for the Drews and the Jemmets, I guess, and Mr. Krill.
Incredible.
And so
then
it becomes a circle.
it comes a circle. So this is really exciting for you.
It
You
was
love this.
so exciting. The last 3 pages just made the novel
You
for
love
me.
when family trees are circles.
Yes, but only
Only in certain ways.
only in certain ways. I'd like to be clear.
But then, and this is the part that kind of makes me a little grumpy at the extended family, when they realize that they're actually related to her, they immediately forgive her for inheriting 8/9 of the estate. And they're like, well, since you're one of us, it's fine. I'm like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Feels a little weird.
And based on the way Jacob Sidney and Peter Boonton were behaving earlier in the novel, I don't know if it's good that they know who has all of the money.
Yeah. We'll worry about that later because we'll definitely see her because she lives with Bess and George
Right?
So keep an eye out if Carol and also Helen come back. Because I'm very attached to both of these women. And Nancy is too.
Her bosom friends.
Her bosom friends.
If you would like to see this family tree that I have drawn, check our Patreon. This is one of our free perks. You can take a look at my hand-drawn, question-mark-covered family tree
At least
for
6
Carol
question marks.
Boonton.
But you don't have to be a patron to look at it. We just need you to have a visual aid.
Gumshoe Game Show.
Welcome to the Gumshoe Game Show. Was that audience?
Yep.
I thought it was a dentist thing.
No, that's
When they
all the
spray the water
audience
in your mouth?
together. Maybe.
Both of those are
Sure.
great. So, once again, Nancy has not received an actual gift, and that's okay. She doesn't have to. But what would you like to play for, Megan?
Ooh, I do want a twisted candle.
They do seem pretty cool. All right, writing it down that what you're competing for is a twisted candle. All right, I'd like to tell you about the theme of my Gumshoe Game Show this
Oh my
week,
gosh, I
which
can't
is
wait.
actually, I was covering it with my hands during the limerick portion because they're on the same page for no good reason.
Oh boy.
But now it's uncovered. You still can't look at it, though.
Okay.
And I thought, you know, in keeping with my theme, I will pick one tiny little detail and develop a whole theme out of it for the Gumshoe Game Show.
Amazing.
And so I'd like you to hear my thought process. And it was about the time when Mrs. Jemmett was stealing 2 ugly candelabra. And I was like, wow,
Oh.
candelabra, it should be candelabras. No, it's not. Candelabra is the plural. Candelabrum is the singular. You might be thinking, oh, is this about singular and plural words? No, I was thinking, wow, talking about candelabras, let me take this little tiny detail and make a quiz. Megan, what's the name of this book?
The sign of the twisted candle.
Yeah, candles are actually a big deal in this book, so this is not even that small of a detail. This is all about
Ah,
candles, and I was like,
yay.
wow, what a small detail. I'll just make a quiz out of it. And then after I wrote the whole quiz, I was like, this is actually great. The whole book's about candles.
And chandlers.
And chandlers. Chandler will not be featured in this because I don't know a lot about Friends except that my sister-in-law likes it. This is specifically the Broadway candle quiz. So, because it is Broadway, you do not get multiple choice.
Oh no.
I think you'll still be okay, though.
Oh gosh, I hope so.
All right. Question number 1. What number auction lot is the chandelier in pieces that begins Phantom of the Opera?
Lot 666, ladies and gentlemen. A
Yes.
chandelier in pieces.
Very good. You've got 1 of 1 correct on the game show. Number 2. Name the 2 characters in Rent that sing Light My Candle.
Okay. I am not as familiar with Rent, but I've seen it, and I just
Mhm.
need to remember character names, not actor names.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Adam Pascal plays Roger.
He does play Roger.
Roger and Mimi.
Very
Yes.
good.
I did have it in
You
my
did
head.
have it. I would never know the actor names because I don't know real people. Full stop. Number 3. What are the characters in the 2019 Moulin Rouge Broadway production Drinking that inspires them to sing a cover of Sia's Chandelier? What are they drinking? You're looking for the drink from Moulin Rouge.
I've only seen the movie with.
You could guess from
I'm
that
going
as well.
to guess it's absinthe.
It is
Oh
absinthe.
my
They
gosh.
just don't sing Chandelier in the movie.
They don't.
No.
But I hoped that was the part.
You are correct. They
Oh
are
my
drinking
goodness.
absinthe. Number 4. What excuse does Lumiere, the candelabrum, offer Belle for why the dishes can sing and dance in Beauty and the Beast?
After all, miss, this is France.
Very good.
Oh.
See, I knew you would not need
I wish
multiple choice.
I wish our listeners could see the
There was
look of panic that
so
keeps
much panic.
that keeps appearing on my face.
And I wait patiently because I know the lyric is going to just click into the right slot and then come out the mouth. But she doesn't know that.
I don't.
It's
I don't trust myself. At this point, I'm 4 for 4. This
you
is the
are
best.
4 for 4.
Ah.
You are doing very, very well. Number 5, and there's a bonus opportunity at the end.
Okay.
Who gives Jean Valjean 2 silver candlesticks in Les Mis? Bonus if you can give me the lyric.
Okay. It's and oh gosh, I
You're doing great.
know.
He might not have a name. That's what's the
He
point.
does though. That's the thing. Not like a
Okay.
full name, but he's the He's the bishop.
Yes, I was looking for the bishop.
Somewhere. And that's where I can't remember, is where he is the bishop of.
When I was, checking various lyrics to make sure I had it right, it just said bishop. So I'm going to give it to you for bishop. But can you give me the lyric for a bonus point?
Let's see. It's,
I was hoping this would happen.
Goodness. When he learned about your flight, you maintain he made a present of this silver, that is right. But, monsieur, you left so early, something surely slipped your mind. You forgot I gave these also. Would you leave the best behind?
Perfect. That is a perfect score. 6 out of 5. You get a twisted candle.
Can I get 2 twisted candles?
You do get 2 twisted candles since you did just so
and
perfectly.
it is called the sign of the twisted candles.
It is. And
Isn't
he
it?
says it is. Sign of the Twisted Candles. And he said you left the best behind, so you get 2 candles. Very well done.
Yay!
Would you like to hear the possibilities I had before I found actual candlesticks? I was like, okay. But let me look through musicals. We had I knew Les Mis, Light My Candle. I knew Phantom, obviously. But there is also Walk Through the Fire from the Buffy musical. We have Burn from Hamilton.
Honestly, I thought we were going that way.
But I was looking, and it's not necessarily a candle.
There's no candle.
Yeah, exactly. And then at the beginning of End to End of Hadestown, Eurydice, of course, is holding a candle and asks if anybody's got a match, but the candle itself is not in the lyrics. So I really wanted to have these.
Yes.
But there were so many options. I was like, I don't know if I can get 5 out of this. I'll just see. And I was like, I have 8 or 9. So,
that was a fun quiz.
You did it.
I only say fun because it was something I was good at.
Yeah, you were very good at it.
It was one of my hyper focuses.
Exactly. And you're great at it.
Thank you so much for joining us on Me and You and Nancy Drew. This podcast is lovingly dedicated to the memory of my wonderful mother, Shar, world's best mom, and the woman who got me hooked on sassy female detective stories. I also want to thank my brother, Ben, for creating most of our sound and music cues for this podcast. Thanks, Ben.
You can check out our website, meandyouandnancydrew.com, for show transcripts, links to our social media, and our Patreon, where we'll post any images that we described during the podcast. Those will be visible to anyone without a paywall, so that we're not describing nebulous images that you can't see at home. But if you'd like to become a patron, there are various perks there, including outtakes or things that got cut for time, stickers, and cross-stitch patterns to create your own Drewseum at home, and more.
Thank you, Megan, for editing the podcast, doing a lot of research about podcast creation, and adding a few additional sound cues as needed.
Thank you, Colleen, for also editing the podcast, for transcribing it, and for helping create our logo.
Thank you to our partners for all the support and love, and especially for lending us their microphones that they bought for a completely different purpose, but said we could borrow once in a while.
Thank you to libraries everywhere for giving access to Nancy Drew books, and all the other books that we mentioned today, and just media of all kinds to people everywhere for free.
And finally, thank you, of course, to Carolyn Keene for independently writing each of the Nancy Drew books from 1930 to modern day. We couldn't do this without you and your 613 individual novels.
And don't forget the moral of this episode.
If it were not for our dreams, we should be poor indeed.